Hey, what's up, guys? It's Brad, and today I want to talk about psychological warfare, subversion, the reason that there are so many zombies, and people that are they just don't want to accept the truth. For you guys that are watching, Lux Life and my channel on Pickup, or any of you guys who have done Pickup, you know how there's like white nights where you do an approach and you go up to a girl and you're doing really well with like a hot girl, and you're kind of a short, weird-looking guy like me, but you've got game. And there'll always be like these white knights and chodes around that are like, what the hell? Like, are you okay, miss? Even though the girl's got a big smile on her face. Like, they're not looking at reality. Like, a girl is actually really enjoying the company of a guy that just did 3 approaches right in front of her, got rejected twice, and then he got into a more socially lubricated state, and now he's doing really well with like the girl that's in front of him that's like super hot. Well, most guys can't accept that. That blows their minds. So they go back into the old narrative of self-hatred and, oh, men are, you could never go and approach a girl. That's hateful and misogynistic, right? Like, that's obviously an inversion on reality. If you are a man, you find a woman to be beautiful, and every guy wants to, be with beautiful women. We all want to approach women. So when a guy actually does, like me and my students that I push to do this stuff, it's like it blows their mind. They're like, oh my god, I've got to put him back in his box, like the box that I'm fucking in. Now what that is exactly what we're dealing with today. It's psychological warfare. We're in the middle of the full cycle. Like, this is the end of the cycle of the full attempted takeover, a coup d'etat of normal, regular, patriotic, freedom-loving thinking. The type of thinking that says, a household should have a father and a mother, and they should raise their kids and stay together. A man should be able to approach a woman and talk to her and have have his time where he sows his oats or whatever, and he sleeps with a bunch of girls until he finds the right one, and then then they get together and everything, and there's a beautiful, loving, loyal relationship that forms out of the right match, and then they make a family that stays together. And the guy's responsible, he takes care of the kid. The woman is responsible, she takes care of the kids and loves them. But that's not what's happening now. That's not at all what is happening now, and it's part of it's going to tie into everything that I'm talking about. So I just put out an article on bradholiday.com about Pizzagate. And the big secret that humanity kind of needs to understand, and how this all worked. Like, how did this, a lot of guys will come to me on boot camp and dating coaching and stuff, and they're like, how did all this happen? Like, why are women so crazy now, and they're so, they're just so degenerate. They have OnlyFans accounts, and they're whoring themselves out and sleeping with all these guys that are complete losers, and they're clubbing all the time, and they worship these people that are fucking idiots, like Kim Kardashian with a big fake diaper ass. They get diaper ass implants where they look like they're wearing a diaper, and they have these comical fake asses and fake tits, and they're just like doing all this dumb shit that's just so degenerate. They're sucking, anybody that's good at game knows that, like, a girl will literally be with her boyfriend at the bar, but if a more attractive man comes by and approaches, she will go and suck that guy's dick in the bathroom and then go back to her boyfriend immediately after, pretending like nothing happened. So, like, how did that occur? Like, once you've seen that a lot, you're kind of like, you go through phases. At first you're like, dude, what? Like, is this for real? And then eventually you're like, well, maybe I should do that too. And then you do it, and, if you're not a total psychopath, you're like, I don't know, man. Like, my conscience keeps me up late at night thinking about the relationships and how that dude would feel if he knew what his girl was doing. That's actually something that really actually eats at my conscience. So I really don't do that. I do my best not to do that. Even though it's not that difficult to do once you learn game. But it's like, how did we get here? How did we get to the point where we're literally, we have a presidential candidate, and I'll play into that for a moment, where he's talking about, it's okay to have your 8-year-old decide if it wants to be a boy or a girl. No, like that's not what 8-year-olds should be thinking about. They should be playing ball with their friends in the park. They should be, watching wholesome cartoons or learning something in a magical, protected world. They don't need to have their innocence stripped. No kid needs to go through. That's a sick decision. Like 96% of all transgender people engage in self-harm. They have the highest suicide rates of any population, and yet you have these mothers on whole who are such good liberals, who just want to go along and have their kids chop their balls off, or their women get a dick sewn on, I guess, at some point that doesn't even work, and take testosterone and grow a beard. It's just, you're playing. I mean, the reality is, here's what the reality is like I was mentioning Pizzagate. Most people, they've dumbed down so much that you try to tell them the truth about things, and what do? They get upset. They get really mad when you try to tell them the truth. Like, look, a lot of girls cheat on their boyfriends and husbands in the club. I've even seen girls cheat on their husbands literally right in front of him with zero remorse. And they don't give a fuck. And then the husband will just rationalize it away, and they may fight or whatever, but they'll get back together. It's a horrific situation. But perhaps more disturbing is that you can't tell anybody the truth about the major problems in the world. You can't tell somebody that, fiat currency based on the Federal Reserve is not a good investment. If most of your money is in cash, I mean, most of us it is. If you're in America and your money is in a fiat currency, it's largely speculative. It's based on a system where they can just print money. It's based on debt. The Federal Reserve is a private organization that exists. It belongs to some central bank that doesn't belong to the United States. The Federal Reserve is a private bank that belongs to a centralized banking system overseas that has nothing to do with America. The problem with that is that our currency just gets printed at random, it seems. Like, they're just like, oh, we just need another, $3 trillion stimulus package so that we can bail out the blue states and the airlines that kick, black men off for wearing Trump masks in between bites of food and drinking their coffee. There was a video of that yesterday. I mean, it's just, you try to tell people this, and they're just like, where did you read that? I'm like, I read that in various articles from credible news sources. They're like, link me to those news sources. I'm like, we're talking right now, and I can't do the research that you didn't do in preparation for this moment, like, for you right now. Like, just go and Google it. And then they'll Google it and be like, oh, that's fake news, obviously. Like, my life is totally normal and fine. I'm like, dude, you've been wearing a mask for the last 6 months. Do you know what the mortality rate of COVID-19 is? They're like, yeah, it's pretty low, but, you gotta save grandma. I'm like, dude, do you still believe the narrative that it's like COVID-19 is a natural disease that just came from, like, a fucking wet market in China? Do you realize that it was actually a chimera virus designed and created in a virology lab in Wuhan that was funded by Fauci and Gates, the same people that own patents to the supposed vaccines? They're making money off the vaccines, and they also funded the development of the virus. Did you know that? Doesn't that seem weird to you? They're like, you sound like a conspiracy theorist, man. I'm like, dude, sure. So why does this happen? Zooming back out, like, why does this happen to people? It's very frustrating for people like me when I try to tell people about what's going on. Perfect example of this is, like, it's now October 18th, 2020. Hunter Biden's hard drive has come out, and if you watch Rudy Giuliani, ex-mayor of New York City, his YouTube channel, and his recent news interviews about those revelations, because he's in charge of actually prosecuting. He's seen the evidence of the hard drive. This is a credible man. This man is an ex-mayor of New York City that turned the city around. He's a lawyer, a well-respected prosecutor, pro-law and order individual, very, very straight and narrow type of guy. And he's saying that on this hard drive, there's heinous footage, as far as he admits, underage obsessions, meaning photos of Hunter Biden and young girls, pay-for-play scams, where Hunter is the bag man. He's the guy that collects the money, and he funnels it off to the Biden crime family. And he's taking this money from multiple different countries that are the enemy of America, like Iran and China and Ukraine and Russia. You know, countries where there's tension at very least. In the case of China, clearly a real direct enemy of America. And yet you try to tell people this and they just don't believe you. So why is that? Well, the reason why it is going back to the satanic ritual abuse, which is one of these things that is so prevalent and so it's just so unbelievable how prevalent it is that it's the perfect example. It's the perfect reason for someone who is in charge of these rings that make billions of dollars a year just in this country alone, the United States, which is one of the top countries that satanic ritual abuse, child trafficking, child rape, child murder, torture, snuff films, child porn is purchased and bought and produced. The United States has conservatively $30 billion as an industry in child trafficking and child porn and child snuff films. If you're not aware of what a snuff film is, that's a video where they torture and murder somebody on film for the entertainment of people who buy it and fund it. And I have personally, I have a really hard time believing that's actually like a real thing. I mean, that's some really dark shit, and I have a very hard time even believing that exists. But it exists. The evidence is clear and overwhelming. The way they indoctrinate those kids through satanic ritual abuse is sort of like hypnosis, NLP, CIA mind control program known as MK Ultra and Project Monarch, I believe it is. Project Mockingbird is another name for it. Psychological operations where they purposefully hypnotize and condition and program people to not question or normalize the situation where this type of stuff occurs. And they're trying to do that in this country where they're passing laws where pedophilia is a sexual orientation. It's just a sexual orientation. It's not a big deal. You know, you can't discriminate based on orientation, and pedophiles, it's not their fault. They just have desires for children. And, you know, the child, when it's done well and it's supervised by the government, the child can love the adult too. They're seriously trying to normalize this. There's actually laws that are passed in fucking California right now about this. It's disgusting. And this is the type of psychological warfare that we're talking about. They're normalizing pedophilia. And they're doing it for one reason and one reason only, which is that these people that are in power are trying to make as much money and gain as much influence as possible. Pedophilia is a way that the cabal, the people that are in charge, the elite, they use these videos, they use this indoctrination of you literally raping like if you watch these, I've linked these videos. We're talking about disgusting, unspeakable acts. I mean, just disgusting, they're so bad that there's no way that you can watch it as a good human being and not be brought to tears or extreme anger and disgust for the people that were involved with it. And that's the thing, is that you will try to tell people. I try to tell people and spread the word about this because I've done a lot of research on this, guys. This is not me just making this shit up, okay? Like, I'd much rather have a burger with you on the beach, teach you to go and approach some girls, do my business, do what I'm good at, teach you whatever, make your life better, and be able to sustain a comfortable lifestyle for myself and have a chill life. I really don't enjoy looking at this stuff. It honestly gives me nightmares. It keeps me up at night. It makes me... It's not good. But it's the most important thing. It really is. There's no... I just don't believe there's any turning back from this. And I think... Thank God that this stuff is coming out, because what people go through, and especially kids, is so... it's just... There's no words, really. It's just absolutely disgusting, and it needs to be eliminated. Like, it needs to be completely wiped out from the face of the earth. Anybody that does this, like, they have to get the death penalty immediately, and it has to be swift, and just no one should tolerate this shit. We all should learn about it and be aware that it does exist and just understand it. And understand, once you do, also understand the satanic ritual abuse that goes on and the prevalence of it and how widespread it is, the scale. You understand the types of hypnosis and the mind control techniques that they use on these kids to go along with it. You'll understand how they're using it on you and your family and America and people in general. I mean, this should be the only thing that we're talking about right now. As a society, this should be the only thing that we're talking about until it's done, until it's wiped from the earth, because this is pure evil. There is no excuse for what these kids go through. So just to give you a little smattering of what this is, you can look up John Podesta, Tony Podesta's artwork. That's a visual of it. You can YouTube Satanic Ritual Abuse, 60 Minutes. Well-established news organization. Go do your own research. I'm not telling you what to believe, and if you find something out that I don't know or you're correcting me, I hope that I'm wrong, and I'm totally willing to admit that I'm wrong about this, but I don't think that I am. I don't think that I am at all. And what these kids go through is... Example, just watch this. Again, I had seen it before. 60 Minutes special on satanic ritual abuse today. Girl is born to young parents, and her mother drops her off with her grandmother. And she essentially has her grandma raise her because she, of course, gets in a fight with her husband because, women are taught that men aren't shit and they're just disposable. And she drops the girl off with her grandma. And what this grandma does is actually, she's a Satanist. So she goes to black mass, she celebrates druid, ritualistic, she goes to these stupid things. And she begins pimping her grandchild out to these Satanists, and the kid is getting gang raped. The kid has had multiple pregnancies by age 11. The kid had a child at 11, and I mean, it's just the most heartbreaking shit that you've ever seen. This kid is crying in the interview. She had a daughter at age 11, and she had multiple abortions, and she even had this is how sick these people are. So they beat and they rape kids and they scare them in ways that, give you an example here. They'll literally take the kid out to the forest. They'll all be dressed in creepy black hoods, and these are all weak, pathetic scumbags that are fucking the most pathetic, weak people that you would ever see in your life. They're skinny, malnourished, disgusting people. You think about Antifa, regular Antifa member, that's pretty much what they look like. And they bring them out, and then they'll bring them out to a grave of somebody they previously murdered and put the child in the grave with somebody that is decomposing and rotting. There's spiders in there or something. Then they close the coffin up. They bury the kid alive in there. The kid's screaming bloody murder, and then they'll have sex outside while the kid's screaming bloody murder. And they do this because this is part of MK Ultra, trauma-based hypnosis. Literally, where they're trying to get the kid to dissociate from themselves and split their personalities wide open, where literally life becomes so painful that they detach. Their spirits detach from their body. That's what they're trying to do. That's what the essence of trauma-based hypnosis is. To get things to be so bad that you literally detach from your own body. And if you've ever read about this stuff, you would know. And I'm no expert, but I'm picking up that's like the essence of this, is they torture these kids so that they just become obedient, willing slaves. And they can do something as simple as give them a green jelly bean to trigger one response, or a red jelly bean to trigger another response. And this has been documented. This is on the CIA website. Operation Mockingbird, Operation Monarch, Operation MK Ultra, CIA mind control. They use psychedelics, they use torture, they use all these things to elicit this response. It's very, very sick shit. So when we come back and we look at, my biggest problem is like looking around the United States these days, and I'm looking at like 50 to whatever percentage of people are still supporting Joe Biden at this point, for instance, or people that say that America sucks and communism is a good thing and socialism is a good thing, or people that'll be Black Lives Matter and they're white people that'll be condemning whiteness and then punching black men in the face and women in the face and hitting and harassing and intimidating old people and children. I mean, anybody that's turned on a TV or watched any news in the past 6 months has seen that shit. I had a chance to see it pretty close. I'm in, New York City. I saw it. I was watching the news. I was following it, and it's just like, what is going on here? I mean, this is the stuff that you're perpetrating here, you're trying to push, is just pure evil. It's nonsense. It's a lie. It's pure evil. You want communism? Really? You actually want to have a system of government, supposedly, that has a body count of like dead people that they systematically murdered in hundreds of millions. Like, that's just insane. That's clearly you're being subjected to some type of psychological psyop, psychological operation, mind control. And then you find out that the elites, the people that run the highest level of government, Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, who ran Clinton campaign, John Kerry, George Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush, all these people that are high levels of government and power, they're all associated to secret societies like Skull and Bones and the Freemasons, highest levels, 33rd Order Freemasons. They're Satanists. I mean, there's photos of Obama with dressed as Satan. You just look that up. I mean, it's just all these things. You see the fucking inverted cross on Hillary, and Her daughter is commenting on the Church of Satan's Instagram page. She's hosting events at Comet Ping Pong Pizza. James Alefantis, his Instagram page is clearly degenerate, at very least satanic and satanic ritual abuse and just unbelievable shit that's going on at worst. So why are they all connected? I mean, it's just sick. I mean, it's just sick shit, and they've been trying to do this for the longest time, and people like me, you know, normal fucking people, like I'm just a normal goddamn human being, want to live a normal goddamn life. But that's not possible when there are people that worship Satan and only want power, that are influencing the masses. They're in bed, they're doing business with, I mean, look at this guy, Mark Cuban. What a schmuck that guy is. God only knows how many kids he's fucking eaten and raped, because he's saying, he was quoted as saying, you know, there was one interview I saw before this last one where he was literally spitting from the mouth. I think he was on either Hannity or Tucker Carlson, and he was just literally just foaming at the mouth, just looking disgusting, like spit flying out of his mouth, not making a coherent argument, sounding like a real libtard, you know, just no real facts, just pure emotions, inversion of reality. They're like, Trump's racist. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I just watched Antifa people punch a black guy's teeth out with brass knuckles yesterday and set black businesses on fire and killed David Dorn. Not much complaint about that, then. Haven't heard too many you know, in the Democratic Party is the party of the KKK, and they were the ones that were opposing freeing the slaves. They were mostly the slave owners, the Democratic Party. So I don't see a lot of stuff about Republicans where they're going out and white supremacists are going and killing black people. Does it ever happen? Sure, it probably does happen, and that's wrong, obviously. That's fucking wrong. But it's an inversion of reality. Cuban came out and he said in the most recent interview that, you know, I don't have the interviewer said to him, do you have a problem with ethnic cleansing that's going on in China? You know, the whole thing where, you know, in China, they have literally millions of Uyghur Muslims in death camps, concentration camps, Christians, and other religious parties in concentration camps just because of their religion. And they're forcing them to work. You have no idea what they're doing in there. It's been admitted that they harvest their fucking organs in there. And you, as a super rich billionaire or whatever, you still fund the Chinese Communist Party? I mean, with your billions of dollars, you can't find another place to make a factory and do a supply chain other than doing business with the Communist Chinese fucking Party? Really? You know, and if you try to tell me, oh, we're doing it, you know, we have a factory out in the foothills of China and we're just dealing with normal Chinese people, I don't believe you, because you're a huge American business. You're telling me the Chinese Communist Party isn't going to get a piece of that action? Bullshit. You're doing business with the Chinese Communist Party that does ethnic cleansing. And what's Cuban's excuse for that? He says, oh, well, they're a customer. Should we never do business with China again? I mean, it's wrong. If you don't denounce evil when you see it, and you've got all that money, you're never going to denounce it. You are part of this. You know? They're part of this whole normalization of this, accepting that China has death camps, accepting that our iPhone, I mean, think about it. We all have iPhones and Androids. They're made in China in this factory, Foxconn. If you Google that now, Foxconn has literal suicide nets outside their factory. I mean, imagine going to work and suicide is so prevalent at your fucking job that they have to put up suicide nets. That's crazy. And we all get our phones from there. But Apple, Apple's such a good company. Wow, Steve Jobs is such a fucking genius. Wow, it's celebrated. It's some sick shit, dude. And once you dig in and you realize a lot of these people in power are involved with this occultist, weirdo, Luciferian bullshit, then you start to realize, oh, damn, maybe they actually used some of that on us. And they did. They did. They've programmed and conditioned a lot of people. That's why so many people are, like, still just ignoring this. Like, as if it's no big deal. Dude, do you realize that the upcoming Democratic nominee for the President of the United States has sold our country out to China illegally? I believe he's a billionaire, or at least he has hundreds of millions of dollars somehow on a government wage. His son is a crack addict, and what is said to be on the laptop, and the laptop of Anthony Weiner, that son of a bitch, Hillary fucking Clinton, that fucking bit. I mean, like, it's just unbelievable that they get away with this, because they're power hungry, mad scientists. They're sick people. They're in a cult together. They do this all together. Literally, they're talking about what's on Hunter Biden's laptop. It's not just text of pay-for-play, political games, and, you know, crony capitalism, where they're setting up meetings with the vice president under Barack Obama, and just for that connection, he's making millions and millions of dollars. Not just that. It's literal child rape and torture porn. Like, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, it is said, has videos of him torturing and raping little girls. Age unknown. Conservatively, it said prepubescent. So, let's just say 13. Conservatively. And there are people that are still like, well, we're not voting for Hunter. I'm like, dude, what? It says in the text messages from Hunter that he's paying off his dad, and you're gonna still vote for that guy? I mean, how much evidence do you really need? Maybe the video will be enough. Maybe if they sit there and they really watch a video of Hunter and Joe Biden raping and torturing a little Chinese kid, maybe that'll be enough for them to say, maybe the Democrats are not the best choice. But no, this is the point, is that it's in satanic ritual abuse. Most of those kids never ever believe that they actually are the victim. They're so, if you ask a prostitute with a pimp that beats her all the time, she loves her pimp. She loves the pimp. That's her daddy. She loves her daddy. Oh, I'm sorry, daddy. You made me, go get the fuck back out there, bitch. He just treats them like absolute shit, and pretty soon they buy into it. They're like, wow, I'm wrong. Wow, he's right. I should have gone and, you know, fucked another 5 guys tonight and paid the pimp, because I need his guidance. You goddamn right, bitch. Look at this jacket, bitch. Look at these rings, bitch. That's what pimps do. I know. I actually know that. So, like, you know, these people are being pimped out, and they don't even know that. But they're so dumbed down. And it's not, I'm not, like, blaming them per se. I'm not really blaming them, because a lot of it also is beyond just, you know, psychological as well. A lot of this stuff is, you know, people who drink tap water, the fluoride in the tap water massively influences the way that you feel in your brain. The stuff in the food. I mean, there's just so many things that have been done to dumb down the population and really put it under mind control so that it's not able to think freely. Plus, you have, you know, the social pressure of, the, what do you call it? You know, the political correctness culture, where if you don't, you said the word black. I like black jelly beans. Why it's gotta be black? Like, literally, there are white girls that talk more like a fucking soulful Baptist black preacher than black Baptist preachers. But it's corny, and they try to act like that, and you're just like, what? What are you talking about? Shut the fuck up. That's how I talk to him. Like, what are you, fucking gangster? Shut the fuck up. Go mind your fucking business. Last I checked, this is America, and you know what? You're way more racist than me. You're way more racist than me. You're like, that's not true. I fucked 3 black guys this week. I'm like, good for you. Good, that's good. Wow, I'm glad you did that. But don't fucking lecture me, and don't fucking come at me like that. Total brainwashing. Total brainwashing. And then, by the way, those girls wind up in really, really bad positions. A lot of these like liberal white girls that act like they're black, that think they're like, you ain't gonna say Black Lives Matter, and then they go and they do that to some black guy's like, I'm black, get the fuck out of my face. She's like, you vote for Trump, you're a fucking traitor, Uncle Tom. The guy's just like, smacks the shit out of her, and she's like, you didn't need to do that to me. He's like, yeah, I did. You realize I'm black and you're white, and you're coming up to me and telling me that I'm a Uncle Tom? Are you out of your fucking mind? I'm telling you, that's how they get to that point. It's mind control. It's been studied. You abuse someone, you put them down, you put them in a state of desperation and confusion, they'll just believe whatever. They'll believe whatever. You don't believe me? Watch the videos of the satanic ritual abuse. Just punch that into YouTube. There's plenty of documentaries on it, and anybody that actually watches it and isn't totally in learned helplessness will see the truth. So break out of the learned helplessness if you're in it, and go do some research on it. You can validate everything I just said, or disprove it. Disprove me. But don't just do it by, doing like, what that lady at the town hall for Trump did, with the shark face. She made the shark face. Don't you think you need to, wear the mask? And Trump's just like, Jesus, dude, no. No, I don't. And, here's the reasons why, bitch. The lady was off her fucking rocker. He said to her at one point, just because you say something is true doesn't just make it true. I mean, who the fuck are you? Your typical liberal nowadays is a nobody, is a dumb, loud, demonic, possessed, out of shape, never been in a fight in their life, nobody. Fucking nobody. They've got no following, they've got nothing, because nobody actually likes their ideas. Thank God we have the internet, because if this was just like, a pre-internet society where you had books and meetings, they would probably be kind of persuasive. But obviously the ideology has been pretty persuasive. It works pretty well. Marxism, Satanism. But those people are losers, dude. Imagine, like, literally raping and murdering kids and eating them and torturing children. How miserable do you have to be to do that and find that fun? You're a sick fucking person. How miserable do you have to be to literally be promoting communism every waking moment and just hating Trump? Oh, you hate Trump so much. You hate those Republicans. That's all they talk about. Republicans don't talk about endlessly liberals. You want to know why? Because we're working. We're not fucking deranged and obsessed with Trump. We're not deranged and obsessed with liberals. Look, I mean, right now things are heating up, and I admit I spend more time looking at the craziness that I see of liberals in Antifa and BLM, and respect and admiration for President Trump that I have during the year. But that's because I'm working. That's because I'm doing other things other than this. I have a very strong suspicion that a lot of these people are being paid off. Like, they're getting funds, like, particularly the activist type. Like, they're literally getting, like, $200-300 a day from George Soros, Alexander Soros, these different foundations that are set up by the World Bank that are trying to collapse the US dollar, so on and so forth. I think they're being paid off. Because some of them have a lot of stuff. They have, like, bulletproof vests, they've got AR-15s. God only knows what they have weaponry-wise, but, dude, but they're all like goofball, out of shape, psychopath meth addicts that you see how they actually stand up against people that work for a living and work out and train, that have actual training. They get smashed every time. It's crazy. And they're praying for their own downfall. It's like they want communism. Dude, communism is going to be your own downfall. You're going to have a really bad time when you have communism. You're going to have a bad time. You're not going to have a good, like, I don't know what you think communism is going to be, but pretty sure Joe Biden, Kamala Harris are two of the most incompetent, dumb, easily manipulated and dominated people in the world. You're just rooting for mutual self-destruction. But in that case, just kill yourself first. I mean, like, if you want to die, just kill yourself first. I guess it's kind of like why the Columbine shooters shot all those kids before they shot themselves. They just want to destroy the innocent and just hurt everybody and then kill themselves. Like, fuck it. That's pretty much it. So that was just my morning thoughts there. Check out the stuff on satanic ritual abuse, MK Ultra, mind control hypnosis. It is real. I mean, there's no doubt that hypnosis is real. There are clinical studies on it. MK Ultra is real. Satanic ritual abuse is very closely tied to MK Ultra and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming and suggestion. There's definitely a lot of stuff that you could do with just those things, but it is, trust me, it's hypnosis, left-handed magic that is tied to the MK Ultra CIA program that's being used in mass scale right now as a psychological form of war on us. So that's about it, guys. Hope you guys have a great day. Sorry the topics are kind of heavy nowadays, but like, these are crazy times. It's October 18th, 2020. We have about 15 days out from the election, and it's going to be fucking crazy. The world hinges on the U.S. election right now. Peace.